So these bags are identical, but one is real and one is fake. Can you tell me which one is which?
Dupes and replicas are taking over.
This feels like real.
Your dupe.
At a time when high-end luxury brands like Hermes, Chanel, and Prada continue to boost their prices, buying luxury feels less obtainable than ever. Some consumers are turning to the resale market to get luxury goods.
Can we go look back there?
Yeah. While others are turning to so-called superfakes. They're considered high-quality fakes, nearly as good as the real thing, but for a much lower price.
It even says the name on the hardware.
A study from Michigan State University says counterfeiters are normalizing the stigma of owning counterfeits, in part by using influencers to peddle their products. The handbag, America's forever status symbol, is a fashion statement showing who's who, with shows like Sex and the City.
It's 4,000.
I know.
And there's a waiting list.
I assumed.
5 years.
But now, sometimes it's the celebrities sporting the fakes.
How you doing? How you doing, Jen?
Real Housewives Jen Shaw made headlines for being found to have dozens of counterfeit luxury handbags following her arrest for federal fraud. In 2023, handbags and wallets ranked as the second most seized counterfeit item by U.S. Customs, worth over $600 million in estimated retail value.
So we've got hundreds of Birkins available, and when you come into one of our flagship locations, you can literally shop between hundreds of Birkins at your disposal.
Sarah Davis runs Fashion File, a resale platform that sells second-hand luxury handbags.
So what have you learned about our society's obsession with luxury and the kind of person who can afford a resold bag that's still thousands of dollars?
I feel like there's like a gravitation on the other side to things that are tangible, things that have history, that just there's story behind it. Like Louis Vuitton, people talk about the monogram, oh, is it overplayed? You see it a lot, but it was designed in the 1800s. What else has been cool that long, you know? It's amazing.
Each bag sent for resale to Fashion File undergoes an authentication process. And they keep some bags determined as counterfeits for educational purposes. But being able to tell the difference between a real and a super fake isn't always easy.
I can see the difference between the prints. This looks like glossier, like it's probably fake.
Inside's super important.
Yeah, this is thicker than this. This looks higher quality.
I think this one's real.
This is a real counterfeit.
Really?
This is a counterfeit.
Especially for the untrained eye. The key differences can lie in the smallest of details, from zipper engravings.
The zipper profile on a Louis Vuitton zipper, it should never have any kind of shape or engraving there. And then you look on the authentic one, you'll see there's nothing there.
Yeah.
To logo placement.
We have a leather made in patch that says Louis Vuitton, made in France. It actually kind of falls right around this bend here, which just doesn't really lend itself to like a really nicely made piece. And the authentic piece, it's distinctly in a different place, so it actually is placed on the back of the bag here rather than under the top.
Oh.
So we have another Louis Vuitton style, two identical bags.
I'll say this one is real.
This one is the genuine counterfeit. You're 2 for 2, Janae. So what you noticed on this, they copied the engravings pretty exactly. They both say the same thing. There's just a difference in the finish. This is actually over polished, so it kind of gives like a wavy finish. Whereas the genuine one, I can see that it was just a much cleaner engraving.
The truth is, there's never been more counterfeits that are better, the super fakes like today, and yet the luxury brands have never been stronger.
Last fiscal year, Customs and Border Protection seized nearly 23 million counterfeit goods nationwide, worth more than $2 billion in estimated retail value. The most common counterfeit items continue to be luxury goods. In November 2023, federal prosecutors executed the largest seizure of counterfeit goods in U.S. history.
We're talking about a whole storage facility that was full of counterfeit handbags. I just never seen anything like that.
The storage facilities held over 100,000 counterfeit luxury items, valued at over $700 million estimated retail value, calculated as if they were authentic.
They're bringing in so much that it's just hard to stay on top of it. Technology, you know, the ability to make a super fake is easier now than ever before.
We went to a shipment processing warehouse at JFK Airport in New York. Customs agents, led by Director of Field Operations Frank Russo, inspect cargo coming in from all over the world.
We were developed as a result of 9/11. And, you know, our job is to protect the country against terrorists and instruments of terror. Counterfeit goods are a direct link to terrorist organizations. There's no doubt about it.
When we asked the CBP for evidence linking counterfeits to terrorism in the U.S., they cited the 1993 attack on the World Trade Center. They also asserted that other terrorist organizations have engaged in the sale of counterfeit goods and stolen cultural artifacts to help fund their organization, but declined to provide specifics. Officials say weapons from the 2015 terror attack on French magazine Charlie Hebdo was financed in part by fake Nike sneakers.
Our officers and import specialists are the first ones to look at that cargo coming in and determine on the spot whether it needs to be opened up or not. We are what keeps this stuff from getting onto the streets of our cities.
The inspection team opens up hundreds of boxes, averaging 82 seizures a day. But given the volume of shipments, a lot still end up falling through the cracks.
Take a walk in Manhattan, and any of those bags that you see on the sidewalk got through. We do the best we can, but we're outnumbered, I guess.
A package's origin is the first clue that a shipment of handbags is likely filled with fakes.
There's no concealment here. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. You know, we go to a warehouse, we check the country of origin, we look at the bags, we look at the shipper, and 99.9% of the time, it is what it is.
China and Hong Kong are probably closer to 70% of all the counterfeit goods that we see.
The second clue, when a variety of luxury brands are shipped in the same box.
Well, I mean, they'll pack them up good. In a little box like this, you'll get, 50 items sometimes.
Customs agents inspect cargo from bags that are violating U.S. intellectual property rights. Once an item is seized, it's repacked for processing.
Usually, it doesn't fit quite the way it did when it came out. My wife does all the packing when we go on vacation. It's not one of my strong points.
Import specialists confirm if the seized items are actually counterfeits.
So like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, they bring representatives and they train us of how we can tell their products are real or fake when it comes to the port.
Once it's confirmed an item is fake, they determine the manufacturer's suggested retail price and pass it on to the special enforcement team, where it's eventually destroyed.
I have this phrase that I use. The bitterness of poor quality lasts much longer than the happiness of a good price.
Our thanks to Janae. You can see more on Impact by Nightline, Superfakes, the shadow world of counterfeit purses, streaming now on Hulu.